It was a long draft. 13 picks, finally in the books. I kept wondering, are the Jaguars just going to trade down and get some more picks? Let's get Mr. Irrelevant to Jacksonville at some point. It'd be fun, but 13 definitely enough.
Yeah, no question. And look, I think Trent Baalke probably misgauged a little bit. He'll tell you that. He backed up a lot so he could come up, and he wasn't able to come up. They tried to do it a number of times, tried to do it Friday night to get back into the third round, and then tried to do it Saturday a number of times. But look, that doesn't matter. What matters is, did you get enough players in the top part of the draft to affect your football team? That's usually rounds 1 through 4, maybe a little bit in 5. And I think they did, Jamal. I like what they did. I think they changed the team, really helped the team offensively. There's still some defensive questions, but from an offensive standpoint, I like what they did. I really did.
All right, let's start with your favorite pick of the draft, Frank. For me, I think it was Yasir Abdullah. When we talked to him after the pick, he compared himself to Elvis Dumervil, and I'm like, Duval's Dumervil. I can see it in headlines now. I think he's a really interesting player. They needed edge help. He's hyper productive in college, a little bit undersized, but you know what? He has the athletic ability and speed that I think the defense could definitely use, so I could see him playing a role for the defense. That'd be my favorite pick.
Yeah, I think if I had a favorite, I like a lot of them. If I had a favorite pick, it's probably Ventrell Miller, not because of this Gator helmet back here. I just think he's a really good player. They were so different with him out there. I think he's a little bit of a Sam Mills, Zach Thomas guy, Jamal. He's small, he's undersized, but that motor really goes. He made so many plays. He's very much like Shaq Quarterman, who they got out of Miami a few years ago, the Oakleaf player. But I think Ventrell is a really good player. Now, he's got to push Chad Moma and Devin Lloyd, and that's a position where they already were pretty good inside linebacker. But I love his motor. I love his energy. I think he's a really good football player, and I'm excited to see Ventrell when he gets here.
You know, I'm on the other side of the coin because I was going to say, what's your least favorite pick? And maybe my least favorite is probably the Ventrell Miller pick. Not because I think he's a bad person. I think he's a great person, phenomenal character, perfect culture fit. I just wonder where he's going to fit on the team besides special teams, because I know he's a tackling machine at Florida, but this is a passing league, and he wasn't that great against the pass. Frank, what would be your maybe least favorite pick that the Jaguars made?
Yeah, I don't know that I had a least favorite guy that stood out to me. Okay. I think when you got to the end of the draft, the numbers were so high, Jamal, that I don't know that you helped yourself a whole lot. But I didn't see one pick on there that people didn't like. But let me go back to Ventrell. I think the vogue opinion is, why did they do it? They've already got Aluakon and Lloyd and Muma. Why did they pick a guy that high? Well, you don't pick him that high if you don't see something. They picked him higher than just about everybody in the draft. So they saw something they really liked. They know what they're doing. Look at the team that Trent Baalke has built here, Jamal. They saw something they really liked and they think special about this guy. So I know it's not a popular pick. I look at all the grades and it's A, B, B, and then they get to Ventrell and they say D. I'm not buying it. I think he's going to really help the team.
He's definitely got the intangibles. I mean, he talked about last year playing on a broken foot, and it immediately reminded me of Calvin Ridley talking about playing on his broken foot in Atlanta. And those are guys that just love football, and those are the type of guys that Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson want in that locker room. So I see where you're coming from with this one, Frank. I do see where you're coming from. You might talk me around to it in a minute. All right, let's talk about the overall draft class, Frank. I know you mentioned, you kind of went through some of the grades that people are thinking so far. What's your overall vibe of the draft class? I was a little bit on the fence at first, but you know what? It's grown on me. I think some of those day 3 picks, I love getting Antonio Johnson at that point in the draft. And, you know, the Harrison pick, I like where it's going because you know what? We've talked about it all the time. An investment in the O-line is an investment in Trevor Lawrence.
I'll give it a good solid B, almost a B+. I don't know if it's an A because I don't know if there's any stars in the draft. Now, it's hard to get stars in the draft, Jamal, when you don't pick till 24th. I don't know that there's a star there. But I think Harrison's going to be just like Jawan Taylor. I think he's going to lock down that right side. I really do. I think Tank Bigsby is already running back number 2. I think that's what he's going to be, and I think it's what he needs to be. I love that pick. Again, I'll say it again. Brenton Strange is the key to the draft. See, that's the name nobody knew. They all wanted Darnell Washington, the Georgia tight end, who was there. But if Doug Peterson, of all people, says, I think this guy's a better tight end than that guy, well, I'm going to trust him. I trust Doug Peterson with tight ends, among other things. So I think a good B. I think they've really helped themselves more on the offensive side than the defensive side. I don't know that there's a star in the class, which is why I probably wouldn't give it an A.
All right, Frank, I can understand that. There definitely doesn't feel like there's a star. Maybe one of these late-round guys can be a steal. We'll have to wait and see. I know some of them sent us to the internet trying to do some research on who these guys are, which is sometimes a good thing. It means that the Jaguar scouts have been doing their work. All right, thanks for being here, Frank.